Guys, welcome back to the channel. So we've got a little product review today where we have all the new Srixon line, the 85 Srixon line. We're going to have a look right now at the 785s. So 765s, and even before that the 745s were some of the more popular irons in any store I've ever been in.
Absolutely.
And I think of the better players sort of offerings, this has always ticked most of the boxes and been a real high performer.
Yep.
Up there with certainly, you know, what Mizuno do and the kind of that nice players club model, and even, you know, so much so that you put the 765s in your bag. I play the 765s also.
These guys here,
Yep. So it was a tall order for the 785s, you know, when they came out to really kind of be better and do something different.
That was my reaction when they released these. Was I thought, okay, these are so good. I'm enjoying them, hitting them so well. The ball flight's better. Turf interaction's great. Like, all these things are so much better than irons I've played before.
Right.
You know, what are they going to do to kind of improve on that? And since we've just been looking at them side by side for the last few minutes, I think we noticed a bunch of stuff.
Bunch of different little changes that really make a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. From a shaping standpoint, for those of you who are familiar with the original 745 line, you'll actually see a bit of an influence of that. The new one's a bit more, it's a bit sort of, it has some straighter lines to the shaping.
Yes.
But it actually also has a little bit more curvature to the sole.
Yeah.
So we were looking at the
here.
sort of trail edge of the sole. So the 765 has quite a wide sole, quite boxy.
It is.
And then you look at the 785s and it's really rounded away and curved. So if you get that, you know, player who has a little bit kind of too much dynamic loft, maybe there's a little too much sole being sort of dropped into the ground.
Yep.
This will be a little bit more sort of efficient through the turf than what the originals would have been.
And that was the whole point of this one to begin with. And the turf interaction was really good on this with that kind of bit of trailing sole relief.
Exactly.
But this has taken it, I guess, up a notch.
Well, that's it, and it's still got the same sort of V-sole technology. You know,
Yep.
it's sort of the positive 19 degrees of bounce, which is high, but the negative bounce on the trailing edge, so you can basically, you're only using the front part of the bounce as effectively. But for the person who does have the shaft a little too vertical at impact, doesn't get the hands forward enough, so the high ball hitters, they still will feel a little trail edge influence on the previous one. That's where this will really benefit.
So these are designed to fit, you know, it's for a more of a player style iron, but it'll fit a different type of steep and or shallow swing.
I've always found that that's the thing with these irons. They can fit such a wide range of players, whether you're, you know, pro or anywhere up to 18 handicap. I fit people into these. Yeah,
18,
I mean, if you're a good striker, and you know, maybe you're an 18 not specifically because of your striking.
Yeah, maybe you're putting your short game.
That's it, and you maybe are a little errant off the tee, stuff like that.
Yep.
But you know, I fit people to these in the past and with great success. So they do cover such a wide range of players. And also comboing them up with the 500 series is also a good option.
Absolutely. Yep, and they've got new 585s out, which we will review.
Yeah,
we didn't review those today, but we will do those. Yeah, they look quite nice. I mean, I think we initially saw some I guess, behind the scenes type photos, sort of not official images. Yeah. They didn't look as good, I didn't think, in those photos. Right. But seeing them in person, if you've only seen the photos, check them out in person because they do look a lot better in person.
I think they do look better. I think they've improved upon the 765s. I will say that.
Yes.
I think the lines. I think the top line is a fraction thinner.
I agree.
Which is one thing that some of the better players used to always say to me, like it looks a little bit boxy in the top line. I think they have thinned that out a little bit. I think they've improved the sole. They've sort of redistributed a little bit of the shaping.
Yep.
I think overall it's a really good job, well done. Yep. Because really they've not taken away the DNA of the club.
Right. Which was so good to begin with.
That's it, and that's the key with these things. You know, certain irons that are super popular, Callaway Apex, for example, they're in their third year cycle because it works.
I know.
So that's the challenge with a club that's so good, is that how do you improve upon it? Nothing wrong with just subtly improving upon it.
I agree. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
just fine.
So why don't we look at some numbers? We went ahead and we got a full set of irons to test, which was great.
Yep.
Don't usually get that.
That's it.
So we hit it's really nice. So we hit the pitching wedge, the 7-iron, and the 4-iron.
Right.
My initial reaction was they feel really nice. They do feel quite similar to the set that I have, the 765s.
Same material, same single billet, 1020 steel, very soft, really great
really
feeling
nice feel.
clubs. And actually your same shafts as you use in there as well, the Nippon Modus 120s.
We had the 120s, which is great. We really got to compare them kind of apples to apples. Really the ball flight was more or less the same. I think I noticed some looks differences. The top line was obviously a bit thinner. The sole interaction felt really, really nice.
Sounded really good when you were striking them.
Really nicely getting through the turf. Yeah. Obviously, you'd have to do more extensive testing on the golf course to see if there was an appreciable difference between the two out of a variety of lies. I would say ball flight wise, I don't think we saw a big difference between what we're used to seeing with mine, but I doubt they were trying to make a big ball flight difference.
I don't think they're for someone who played 765s and then they're trying to convert them into 785s. I
agree.
I don't think that's the idea. They're probably just for the people who maybe are late adopters to Srixon irons. They've seen success with the 745s and the 765s and went, I'll give them a try. I'll try those 785s. Yep. They're going to enjoy them.
Agreed.
They're going to really enjoy them.
Absolutely.
The one thing with Srixon irons is they are a little stronger than lofts.
Yep.
So the 6-iron comes at stock at 28. So that is, for a player's iron, that's relatively low.
Right.
So because the natures, they are high ball speed irons, they do spin a little bit less.
Correct. And I'm already a pretty low spin player.
Well, that's exactly, because I was looking at your 7-iron number there, and you're only spinning the 7-iron at 5,400.
Hitting a pretty flat 7-iron.
Yeah, but you're still coming in at 48-degree land angle.
Yep.
So that's tons of stopping power.
Yeah, my angle of attack is, I think, usually around 3 or 4 at most with the 7-iron, which is probably a little bit on the shallow side.
Right.
And I do swing from the inside out, so that would be why I'm probably a lower spin type player. But again, these numbers are very in line with what I'm used to seeing with my iron. So I think performance-wise, there's no way Srixon went to their R&D department and said, okay, 765s aren't performing well, like help us out here. No way. I think they
redesigned the whole thing starting.
So cosmetically, I do think, and it breaks my heart a bit because I just got those, and these do look better. And I think the soles look better, the top lines look better. It's a great looking club. I know there's some laser milling going on the face, so maybe a little bit better performance out of the rough. We'd have to test that, but that's the theory.
I think that's something that, having the influence of Cleveland and vice versa, actually, because they took the Srixon sole and put it in the Rotex 3. They took the laser milled faces and put it on the Srixon irons.
Which is cool, right?
Yeah, you've got a little bit of, two companies doing their own thing under the same umbrella, but you can kind of benefit from the same technology, and that the laser milling in the faces just for a little bit more friction is going to help a bunch.
Which we've discussed is the key when your lie is not good, right? On a perfect lie, you probably won't notice it, but this is more, okay, if you're in the rough or you got a bit of a 100%. Wet lie, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. Maximizing friction is always the key to that. So when you're dealing with a wet lie or rough or other sort of outside influences, you need to make sure you've got as much friction as you can.
So why don't we take a quick little dip into some stats.
So let's start with the wedge. Interesting that the wedge, it didn't quite go as far as your normal wedge.
Probably, I might just have been meaning to warm up a little bit.
Right.
But it had a nice a pretty high ball flight. My ball speed might have been just a little bit down on that.
Well, you can see the progression, 103, 104.4, and then 106 at the end, so you might be right there, Matt.
But when I'm on the golf course, honestly, if it's 140, I'm pushing a wedge a bit.
Okay.
I'll swing comfortably 137, 138. So I think, again, there's definitely no difference in terms of how far the ball was flying.
Yeah.
Nice solid feel, and again, it felt nice going through the turf.
Okay. Yeah, 136 was your carry at 107 feet, coming in at 52 degrees land angle. Plenty
of stopping power.
Tons of stopping power, really vertical.
Yep.
So really good. 7-iron, 124 miles an hour ball speed, 18.4 launch, 2400 spin, coming in at 48 degree land angle. Only 1 foot of difference between the peak height on your wedge and your 7-iron.
Which is interesting. And you've said before you want to see from wedge to about 6 iron,
about
7 iron?
6 or 5.
Yep.
Well, for your type of speed.
For this type of speed.
At least to 5, you should see that height very consistent.
Right.
Probably, to 6 anyway, and then you'll actually start to see, so wedge, 9, 8, 7 will all be at the same peak. Mm-hmm. Then you may see a little dip in peak height on the long irons.
The longer irons.
And then that will come back up again as you get back towards the hybrids and the fairways and the drivers. So, and we saw that when we reviewed with the hybrid even.
That's right.
It was up at 100 feet.
And this was about 90, which is the 4 iron. So a little bit of a dip and then back up.
Yeah.
Interesting. So very consistent in that sense, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. The 4 iron felt really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
No problem getting it up in the air. Nice fast ball speeds, I would say. And we're getting about just under 220, which is, again, what I'm used to getting with my 4 iron.
The one thing I would say though, Matty, for me on these is I would maybe look at softening the 4 a little. I mean, so you're kind of 180, 192 on the 6 iron. 204, so 7 at 180, 6 iron would be 192, 5 iron at 204. So you're right there at 218.
Because the gaps get bigger as the clubs go. Like, is it you want kind of 10 yards in the shorter irons, then it's more like 15 yards in the longer irons?
It depends on how far you hit it, but I would say you'd be comfortable at 12. Then once you get into the woods, going into 15.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, or maybe actually a little bit more, maybe even 20 in the woods. But so about 12 would be right, and then when you get down into the wedges, kind of keeping that around that 12-degree gap and all the way down for your speed. But I mean, these aren't even a fitted set, and they're already sitting right in your gaps. I mean, your accuracy with them was, we'll look at the little comparison page. I mean, it was very, very good. There was very minimal deviation on the accuracy with them. So, very comfortable. I mean, we would expect you of all people to fit into these ones. You already own a set. So,
absolutely.
Tremendous.
It's a good set for, this is probably generalizing, but someone who spins it a little bit too much. You often recommend these because there's a little less loft.
Agreed.
And they get enough stopping power on their own. But I think they've really improved this shape, because to me this is like almost blade sole width. Yeah. But you still have a little bit of a cavity for forgiveness. Yeah. And I didn't strike all those in the center, and I think most of them flew just fine. Like you weren't losing a lot on your miss hits either.
I'm really keen to see how these blend with a set of 585s.
In the longer irons.
Yeah, really keen to see, because that was a real strength of last year's ones.
That's the new 585. Yeah, so we will be doing a review of those, but you'd recommend, I know I've got the wrong hands here, but maybe your 4 and 5 iron would be in these guys, and then start at the 6 iron with these.
Well, especially if we do see, for example, like you had there, a slightly lower flighted 4 iron, we might want to go to the 500 series and try and combo that up. Obviously, being a 2-piece head rather than the 1-piece forged. This is a forged body with a steel basically plate insert,
which is cool.
Yeah, so 2-piece head. So that's designed, and I've seen this firsthand, that the 500 series launch much higher than the 7s.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, much
so you
higher.
Get some more elevation out of that.
You do. So even the 5 and 4 and those would be really beneficial for people.
Interesting. Maybe even me, apparently.
Yeah, maybe.
A little bit of extra height.
I think, and the beauty with them is that, from a profile perspective, there's really not much difference. The top line isn't that different. The sole is a little wider, part of the reason why you hit it higher, but you're shallow enough with those long irons anyway that's not going to make a difference.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job with the top line. As you said, if anyone was hesitating on the 765s because of the top line, which, let's be honest, is not exactly thick, but if it's not as thin as you like it, I think for sure you'd look at these guys and say, okay, that's a lot more like what I'm used to seeing.
I think it's a little closer to kind of Mizuno dimensions in terms of the top line. I always thought when I looked at it, JPX forged is a little bit thicker, and 765 was always kind of similar to that for me, but this is more MP. Just for the kind of the people who are also looking at this type of stuff. Yeah. It's going to be the Mizuno players, the people who play like 718 CBs, P7 70s or 750s, that type of iron.
The small cavity.
Yeah.
If you're going to go demo Mizunos and Titleist and all those, you have to demo this.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You can't not try it.
100%.
If you're not someone who's tried Srixons before, we just experienced it with the woods. Yeah. Seems like the woods are coming along, but the irons are so well established at this point.
Exactly. And guys, for those who don't know and aren't that familiar in the custom world, Srixon have an extensive list of aftermarket shafts that they offer.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, so they came up with a program 2 years ago where they do free sort of upgrades for Nippon, Modus. They do guys. NS Pro, they do Dynamic Gold, they do Project X, LZs. There's a bunch of shafts in there. So wherever you're going, make sure you guys ask about the shafts that are available, and they're no upcharge
That's
shafts.
a big deal because these are very well made shafts.
Yeah,
and the tolerances are amazing, and these are worth about how much retail when you go to a shop.
I mean, you're going to be probably $70 or so.
That's a lot to offer stock. Yeah, $70 retail for a shaft, and it's coming in it. I think you've seen a lot of people go to this shaft from your fits. That's a big deal. So
it's a really good way to get a high quality set. Obviously, the key is with all this stuff, get fit, get the right ones, get the right loft, lie, length, grip, size, grip, style, texture. You know, make sure you tick all those boxes. And I think, you know, from a head performance perspective, this will be a great set of sticks for anyone.
Totally agree.
Definitely.
Yep, awesome stuff.
Cool. Well, I think, guys, get out and try these. You know, at the back end of the season, you know, you're still in your good season form, so it's a good time to test clubs this time of year. I really like this time of year. The spring is what it is, you know, we're all, and certainly in this climate, we're a bit rusty for testing in the spring, so I actually really like this time of year for going out and testing some new gear while you've still got some good momentum and kind of, you've been playing a bunch, so get out and give them a try and certainly let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
Definitely. Guys, thanks so much for watching, we'll see you soon.